Good morning, people. November, you guys. Oh my gosh, the year is pretty much done. We're, what, a third of the way into the fourth quarter already? Like, holy cow. We only have 2 more months left before the next decade starts, and we start looking at, oh my gosh, what did we accomplish, in this year itself? So I'm actually really glad. I've done a lot. I feel like I've grown a lot. I feel like there's so many other things I want to do. I'm going to try and cram it in the last 2 months. You know me, I'm procrastinating. That's basically how I operate these days. But I wanted to get on here and talk about this call out culture because I'm seeing it more and more. And I feel like, oh, everyone has an opinion, right? And it's great. I'm glad you have an opinion. It means you care about something enough to stand on one side or the other. But I also feel like people are taking things out of context because there's so much information out there. It's almost like misinformation overload. People are taking one line out of an entire speech and judging that person based on that one line from that one speech from their entire life, right? It's out of context. I know that people are very, very upset with Priyanka Chopra because there was something about Pakistan and the Indian Army, and she happened to say Jai Hind, and she was proud of the army or whatever, but that doesn't necessarily mean she's proud of all of their decisions. It may have been taken out of context. She may have been just saying in general she supports the armed forces in India. With that being said, yes, she is a UNICEF advocate. She's on the panel. She represents so many things, and I'm glad. But it's almost like that one line negated everything she's ever worked for. And I don't like that about our culture. I know that there are very many people out there who are super upset with fair-skinned Indian actresses playing typical Indian Tamil roles, which most of us, well, I can't even say most of us. I'm not. I'm not dark skinned. I'm fair skinned, unless I spend lots and lots of time in the sun, which I don't get a chance to do very often. I do get very dark, but for the most part, I'm inside. I don't go out that much, and I am fair skinned. But if you see my brothers, both my brothers are very dark. So I don't like the fact that people call everybody out whenever they get a chance, because it's almost like the best thing you want to do, or the favorite thing to do at the moment is to, like crabs in a barrel, pull somebody down to your level. So, they're no better than me because they're hypocrites too. And I don't like that. It's almost as if no one has a chance to evolve or change. No one gets a second chance. It's almost like branding but in reverse, right? Because these little things that they've done, people are allowed to make mistakes, because if you're allowed to make mistakes, they sure as hell are allowed to make mistakes. And I really, really wish people put things into context. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they said, you need to allow people to justify themselves so you understand where they're coming from based on why they created their, they chose the way that they did for their decisions. And it may not be the best set of circumstances. You may have chosen differently, but the fact of the matter is, you weren't standing in that person's skin at the time that they made the decision. You have no idea what the thoughts were that were running through their heads. You don't understand the feelings that were running through their body at the time, and then they chose the decision that they chose. Yes, for all intents and purposes, taking a life is wrong. But what if that's in self-defense? Then suddenly that's a gray area, right? And what if it's to, save yourself from an abusive relationship, because knowing that you will have a child, and somebody might hold that over your head or try to destroy your life with the child or whatever, that could be a dangerous situation for you. Any one of those situations, suddenly it's not so bad. You understand? So I believe in gray. I don't believe in black and white. And this call out culture, I feel like, is everyone's petty way of bringing celebrities and other thought leaders down to earth because they don't feel like those people deserve that status. The fact of the matter is, they fought for where they are. They put in the work. They have been through so many other difficulties. And honestly, whether you think they're crap or not doesn't matter, because they're going to continue using the platform that they have to do as many good things as possible. Most of them, right? Trump, I don't know. But I kind of feel like it's very easy to point the finger at other people, because obviously it means you're taking the attention off of yourself and putting it on somebody else. And I don't think people understand that a lot. When you talk about how somebody did you wrong, you are telling me, in essence, how you believe that situation should have gone. You are telling me that that person is wrong. And by you telling me, you passing judgment, you're showing me exactly who you are. Case in point, we had a live class yesterday, right? And we were talking about male body image, body health. And we wanted to make sure that, going into November, November is Movember, mustaches and beards are in full tilt during November, and it's in honor of prostate and testicular cancer. And I love that. I love that we're shouting that stuff out. I love that we're giving awareness to those things. But this young man jumped on the class and was very boldly telling me that, I was attracted to this girl and she wasn't attracted to me. So obviously he knew that she was not attracted, but he pursued her further because he did not like the fact that she was not attracted to him. And he went to the point of showing her or telling her the size of his member, right? His penis. And at that point, suddenly the story changed and suddenly she was excited. But the point is, he refuses to acknowledge the fact that he reduced himself to being a tool and then was judging the fact that the girl was interested in the tool rather than the connection. If you reduce yourself to that point, what you're offering is only sex. So why wouldn't people, especially in this day and age where you swipe left, Tinder, all that stuff, we talked about this before, why wouldn't people take you up on the offer? Because they're used to meaningless connections. You're looking for a meaningful connection. When they say they're not interested, you pursue them further, and suddenly you're upset and disgusted because they took you up on the offer you provided in the first place. So people don't seem to understand when you pass judgment like that, you're telling the world who you are. You're telling the world how you see the world. You're telling the world how to treat you. Because if you can be that simple-minded, that means we're allowed to treat you the exact same way. That's basically what you're telling us. A lot of times when I was growing up, my mom would be like, make sure you respect your elders and everything, because if you don't, you're telling other people that it's okay not to respect your elders. And I got that. I understood that. So I made sure that I respected my elders. Now, there is a respectful way to disagree with people, and there's a disrespectful way to disagree with people. Most times, I would recommend that you do it in the privacy so that the two of you are speaking to each other and there's no audience. To do it in public, to break someone down in public, shows you not only how much of a bully you can be, but also that you have no regard for other people's feelings. And that kind of sits very badly with a lot of people, right? And as you all know, people don't remember what you said, they remember how you made them feel. So with this whole call out culture, because everyone's doing it, it becomes a trend. And I get that. We do that with consumerism. Everyone, like influencers buy this particular piece of makeup and they say it's great and they show us that it's great. Everyone goes out and buys it. We follow the leader kind of thing, right? It's a sheep mentality. But when it comes to treating people well, when it comes to allowing people to change and make new decisions, you got to put it all into context. You can't just pass judgment on one statement. I think there was a race car driver recently who was called a hypocrite because he was talking about how much he loved the idea of saving the earth and being vegan, and suddenly it came into play like, well, how can you be vegan and love the environment and take care of the environment if you're a race car driver? Isn't that like carbon pollution, carbon footprint, all that stuff? Honestly, people try in whatever capacity they can. Obviously, they're part of the system. It's going to be hard to break out of the system completely and do what you think is right. For those of us who are vegan, how many of y'all actually use straws? Right? We could argue that point too. How many of y'all go to the grocery store to get your food that is packaged in plastic and then throw away how do you recycle all that stuff? You throw it in the garbage, right? And if you're smart enough, you put it in a recycling facility, or you separate them and put them somewhere so that it can be collected. But the point is you still consume, correct? You still buy it to separate it, to give it to somebody. So all of us are at fault here. Calling each other out just means that, tit for tat, butter for fat, if you're going to call me out, I'm going to call you out, and we're just going to be at war forever. This is how stupid generational fights started. Somebody did something, the other one retaliated, and suddenly they're not talking to each other anymore. Please, you guys, allow people to try. Allow people the benefit of the doubt so that they could maybe change their ways. Maybe they're seeing the errors of their ways and they're going to trial and error it through, and eventually they will find what works best for them. But guaranteed, there are going to be ironic moments. Guaranteed, there are going to be hypocritical moments. Guaranteed, you've had plenty of them yourself. So it's one of those, let he who has not sinned cast the first stone kind of situations. If you have never been a hypocrite in your entire life, guaranteed you have, then go ahead and judge. I know plenty of influencers who are talking about, women's rights, and how Beagle is not, a women's empowerment movie and stuff. But guess what? They low-key in my DMs talking about, naked yoga. Let's show me yours and I'll show you mine and stuff like that. So how is that women's empowerment? How is that respect for women? So you can't, out of one side of your face, talk about, empowerment, and at the other side of your face, go back to swipe left culture and hope somebody will take you up on the offer to show you theirs so you can show them yours, and y'all have some kind of like kinky DM sex or whatever. You know what I mean? So please, people, call out culture. It might seem cool, but while you call the other person out, you're telling yourself too. You hear me? All right. Think carefully, please. Do not pass judgment if you can help it. Encourage people who are trying to change, because as it is, it's hard to change. Don't be like crabs in a barrel where you're trying to pull the next person who's trying to climb back down because you can't stand the idea of somebody else doing better than you are. Don't be like that. Okay? We have space to evolve, all of us. Yeah? All right, you guys. I'll catch you again later. Bye.